So what's been going on, So? Fill me in on life. What's been happening? Hi, Dougie.
I don't know what's happened since I last saw you.
I saw you doing charity events. What was all this about?
Yeah, so I have... Obviously, wedding season's kind of coming to an end, although there's loads of editing to do.
Slowing down.
But I have been donating some time to Sophie's Legacy. It's basically a charity. I don't know if you... Did you ever follow Sophie's journey? No. So it was a little girl called Sophie. Beautiful name.
Yeah.
And she had a really rare form of cancer and sadly died from it. And her mum, Charlotte, honestly, is such an incredible person. And she blogged about the journey from the day that she was diagnosed and every day up to the day she sadly passed away. Yeah. And I feel like I was one of many. I mean, the following on this story was just immense. But I literally remember the day that she died and I went to Hillsey Lanes and I just cried. I just felt like I was grieving someone I'd never even met, but I was so invested in her story. Yeah, so she lived up Fareham Way. She was just so brave, because of the way Charlotte writes and the detail and the emotion that she put into every single passage that she wrote about the story. You just felt like you were a part of it, and there was so much fundraising going on, and it was just such a lovely thing. And at any point, any of us could have been Charlotte, right? Having that situation with our own
you just
children.
Can't imagine.
So you just chip in and do whatever you can, and obviously it's just in my nature to be quite charitable. I love all that sort of stuff. So me and Dan actually knows the dad of Sophie.
Okay.
He played football with him, so it was quite easy for us to sort of know when we could help. And I've just been doing bits for that, really.
Nice.
So she transformed the journey into a legacy once Sophie passed over, and basically that's what drives us forward. So Sophie made some wishes on her deathbed, basically, as brutal as it sounds. It's literally how it was, of things that, if I'm honest, should have been in place anyway. But this little girl, and it's sad that it came at the cost of her life, and it's cruel, and it should never have happened. But if any good has come from it, and one of her little sayings was "see the good in every day." That was something that she lived by. And we feed parents in hospitals now, we deliver 20 crates of food just a week to Southampton.
Oh, that's amazing.
Every Saturday night at Portsmouth QA. Parents
Is it just Southampton pizza. Because obviously she was there, I'm assuming?
No, so it's actually, there's 8 hospitals in total that we look after, but Southampton is the biggest children's hospital. So if you're quite unwell, it kind of holds the specialists that would cover that area. So
have they got a website and everything, and an Instagram? And
so it's Sophie's Legacy on Facebook. There's a website as well, which we can always signpost. But if people don't know about it and they live in this community, the legacy itself will impact your life, because if you end up in hospital with your child, no matter what it is, it doesn't have to be cancer related. Obviously we want to raise awareness for that, but Sophie's wish was that every parent gets a hot meal, because she hated it when her mummy used to have to leave to
eat. Funny, isn't it? You don't think about it. You think it's just the patient, like you say, that gets looked after, but you forget about all the trips that families would do back and forth, and if you've got any animals at home that need to be looked after while you're in hospital, and it's like really you say, hard. Food, because visiting hours, obviously, they're normally set times, aren't they? And it's normally dinner time.
Well, I did the pizza drop-off on Saturday night with Dan. I dragged Dan along, and he loves being a part of it. And we knocked the doors of every single patient and asked the mum or dad or the guardian if they wanted a pizza. And some people were moved to tears because they hadn't eaten for days. They were there was a lady that was an army wife, and so she was in hospital with her daughter, had a really crap shit week, right? And had no one else to call on. And couldn't leave her daughter's side, because there's no member of staff that can sit with your child whilst you go and get yourself a coffee. There's no gaps. So many parents don't eat and don't look after themselves, and obviously you have to be in best health to look after your children.
Oh, that's so nice though that they've set up that. That's amazing. How long has that been going for?
So the charity was registered in May time, which is it's really frustrating, because obviously we're still trying to push this name out there and get that recognition, but it has impacted hundreds of people, and it's only going to keep growing, and obviously the more people that are happy to volunteer and donate their time.
So May this year?
Yeah.
Wow, and they're already doing that many hospitals?
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's
so
amazing.
If you turn up into A&E with nothing but the clothes on your back, which happened to Charlotte, so she's in some ways kind of recreated something that she didn't have.
Sorry guys, we're laughing because Doug is honestly not letting me stop stroking him. Every time I stop, he's like,
Honestly.
Nudging my hand.
It's not about you today.
Oh, well, it was really nice to see, because obviously you put it on your Instagram stories and it was nice. I obviously would have loved to have come up. I had a bloody nightmare on Friday.
Oh my gosh.
My dog nearly died, guys. For those that have, no, it's laughable almost now, but honestly, I actually felt like I was living a nightmare. If you've got a dog, you'll understand. If you've got any pets, I know some people that aren't into dogs will be like, get a life, mate, it's not a baby. But she is my firstborn. She's my child. And it was terrifying. Sean wasn't there. I was in the house on my own. Had a treat that she's had loads of times. And it just went from 0 to 100. Mate, but even then, like I keep getting like flashbacks of it. It was absolutely terrifying. She looked petrified and her whole body just went rigid and like low to the ground and just stiff and like looking at me like I can't move. And I was like, oh, do you need a poo? Like, and I thought she had like a sock in her mouth, because she normally steals socks around the house and she'll come over and grass herself up straight away. She'll be like, and I'm like, Dana, what's wrong? And then I looked in her mouth and she just couldn't move. And I was like, oh God, she went really low to the ground. So when she does that, I thought, oh, does she need a poo? So I let her out in the garden. And then I realised that she's not breathing. And I was like, oh my God. So, it was petrifying. I ran round to my neighbours. I had no bra on, just my pyjamas. They thought I didn't have any pants on, but I did have like high-waisted shorts pulled right up. I just sprinted. They thought they were being burgled, I think. I just bashed on the door. I was like, help me, she's not breathing.
Was it them that got it dislodged?
No, so I think I must have got something out on the patio at mine, but I was in such a fluster that I didn't even realise, because when I went to theirs, they were saying, Elise, it's okay, she's breathing. And I was like, she's not breathing. And they were like, no, but she's getting air. There's something stuck, but she is breathing. But something was definitely still stuck. And then Hannah and so I rang Sean in a frenzy. He rang James and said, get round to mine now. So James and Hannah run over thinking there's someone in the house, or Elise has passed out, or she's had a Crohn's flare up. They didn't know what it was. And I'm just in the street screaming with my neighbours, and they're trying to get something out of her throat. But obviously if there's nothing in the throat and you can't see that, you're not meant to put your hands down, because you can
make it worse, can't you?
Because you can make it worse. But obviously at the time, you don't think about that. You don't think about, what are the steps? Calm. What do I need to do? Okay, well, I've done the mouth check. I didn't do that. I just went into a frenzy. So I'm like hating on myself, because I'm like, oh my God, did I make it worse? But luckily, I think James used enough brute force. Because again, you're scared of hurting them, right? You don't want to like whack them too hard.
And he's experienced in that, right? Like he's got a basic understanding on what to do.
Yeah, he was in the Marines, so I think he's obviously
it works.
Been through a lot
the
worse.
Same way, right?
Yeah, but with a dog, I think with a human, you obviously, they're on their back and you do CPR, right? In the normal way that you would see on a lot of films and programs. But with a dog, you're meant to put them in like a wheelbarrow position if they're a small dog like mine. So you lift their back legs up.
Really?
Yeah, so they're almost like turned upside down, I guess. So their back and that's their head and that's their back. And then when their legs are up in the air, that's when you compress just where like the rib cage goes to their stomach like 5 times. But it's not guaranteed to bloody work. And if it doesn't, you're meant to turn them upside down.
He must, I mean, he's a big, did he break her ribs and stuff?
Well, I don't think I was there at the time when he was doing it, because I was like on the phone to the emergency vets, and obviously they're like, get her straight in, but there's no point me putting her in the car if she's not breathing, because she's not going to make the journey. Our main thing is to get whatever's out.
Yeah.
Like whatever's stuck out.
So
it was
scary.
Absolutely terrifying. But she's fine, guys.
They should
she's
do
absolutely
like
fine.
basic dog first aid, right? Because I wouldn't have ever known that.
So I've done a first aid course for dogs, but that's because I do dog walking, right? I've got a dog walking business, but I've not done it in person. I've never seen somebody lift up a dog like that. And again, it's all very well. Like, I guess it's kind of similar when you have a baby. You probably take yourself to like, Douglas, darling, I love you too.
Dougie, stop.
You know, when you go to like, when you have a baby, I guess you go to like a first aid course. So you want to train yourself up, right? And you cut the grapes down the middle. And you honestly, Doug is being so needy, guys. I think he knows what we're talking about. He knows it's traumatic.
He's such a lovely
Douglas.
Boy. I know, it's not going to happen to you. Your friend Pepper's fine.
But you know, when like you have a baby and you're told to like, well, maybe when the baby starts eating, but my sister's always cut grapes down.
Oh, I'm
like the long
so
ways and tomatoes.
vigilant with
Yeah, my sister's probably drilled a bit of fear in me. I've got such a fear, right? If you started coughing, I'll be like, what's wrong? But I'm like that anyway.
Yeah.
So for that to have happened to Pepper was like the worst thing for me. It was absolutely terrifying. But she's fine now. She's just scared of me. She's been really weird with me this weekend, like not herself, but probably because I was
you were you
screaming,
had to be, right? Brutal
and
with her.
like hitting her
back. Did you
back.
see it come out what it was?
I just saw, James said he saw something come out, but I left obviously in a frenzy with Hannah really, really urgently in the car. She took my car and we drove up to the vets. And I don't know if it was there when we left. Two of my neighbours basically said they couldn't see anything, but James said he saw something come out. So she was fine in the car anyway. She wasn't fine. She was breathing. She was shaking like a leaf, but
what did the
she
vets
was absolutely
do?
fine. The vets checked her over. I literally ran in. My knees, babe, look at my knees. All cut up. My hand was like completely cut. Everything. I just collapsed, I think, on my neighbour's door. I was like, help me, my dog's not breathing. But they took her straight in and she was out within like 5 minutes and they said, I don't know what you did, but you've saved her life, like whatever you guys all did. Oh my God, not the Friday night I expected. I was buzzing. I was like, oh, lovely. I'm not going out for drinks. Got my skincare on, got my PJs, going to watch a little programme. No, not my plan at all. Crying, in fits. A&E, emergency A&E. It was awful, absolutely awful.
So stressful.
If you've got a dog, watch how to save your dog from choking or watch a little video.
I know.
It's worth it.
Well, Douglas had us at the vets all week as well.
I know. What was wrong?
He was really like lethargic, to be honest. And then his wee was like UV paint, mate. Honestly, outside it glowed in the dark. It was so yellow. I've never seen anything like it. It was
weird.
so strong, and I was like, there's something wrong. He is a little bugger for going for a wee. I have to force him out to wee. He's like too...
Well, I know that. He pissed on me last time, didn't he? Cheeky monster.
Little bastard.
Oh, that's weird. Was he eating his food then?
He was eating, but like he's quite fussy with food, and he's a bit of a grazer. So there's no like...
Grazer.
You know, you can't really know whether he's... But he just wasn't right. You know, when you can just see
just
it in their eyes.
Yeah,
it's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's horrible.
So anyway, I took him to the vets eventually about 2 days after. I just thought, right, enough's enough now. He's not himself. He was really restless in the night and he sleeps really well at night. He's like a proper baby. He's such a lovely
You just
boy.
know them though, don't you? You get so used to their personality and their ways.
And then anyway, we took him in and he had a really high fever. So there you go. And they gave me some antibiotics, anti-inflammatory. He had an injection. They said that they never heard a dog cry like it.
They tried squeezing Pepper's anal glands when she was in the vets because they were like, oh, she's got a bit of a fishy smell. And we were like, yeah, she needs a poo probably. But she's also just had something lodged in her tummy. She fucking screamed like so high pitched. And I was like, oh, no, just leave her.
Did they get stuff out of them?
They squeeze their anal glands. Ew. So if your dog gets like a fishy smell, it's because their anal glands are blocked. Then? Yeah, sometimes you go to the vets for like a regular thing, like every 3 months you have them popped.
Sweet Lord.
I don't know if it's more in females, maybe. You'd smell it. It would smell bad.
Oh, my little boy.
And sometimes they can just go for a poo and it's like cleared out. It's like pushed out. But yeah, God, we've had an absolute palaver with the doggies. So the polls.
Yes.
We had a really good response to the last episode. I was actually really shocked. I know we had a few people that were saying like they had a really similar experience to you, which blew my mind.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what? But that's exactly why we're doing it. Yeah. And that just confirmed to me that sometimes I think, am I being really impulsive in sharing stuff that maybe I shouldn't?
Are we oversharing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I think there's the reasons why I'm sharing it are like confirmed when people write in and say, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if no one actually responded to it,
would be like,
I'd be like, oh my God, I've just poured my heart out. No one cares.
Yeah. Where's my violins? I know what you mean, because I feel like on Instagram as well, we don't have like a huge following, obviously. It's mostly just our like friends and family, isn't it? Yeah. But the fact that we do get responses from actually a real small community, it's really nice.
Well, I actually had a couple of people write in. So I had one on my personal Facebook from a lady that I know, and she just couldn't believe how much her story mirrored mine.
Really?
The only difference was that with her situation, she met up with her siblings and she just didn't. Wow. She just didn't connect with them, which is a shame.
That's sad.
Because actually the good that's come from my situation is that that's something that I have had. Yeah. Then there was people, with the whole like not really knowing if it's worth trying to have that relationship or not, or just letting it, letting
let
life be what it is.
I think it comes back to what you said previously, though. If it doesn't add any kind of value or it's not making you happier having them in your life, it's kind of like, maybe I shouldn't push it.
Well, we did some polls, and I think 60% of our viewers that voted on it said that they had a dysfunctional childhood. Yeah, which really. But then everyone's perception, and I did say, what is dysfunctional to you? And only a few people did write back on that, actually. And it's interesting to know, is it because that they don't know if their reason is... Yeah. When people just don't feel confident in...
I don't think everybody feels confident in sharing, and also their understanding. I think it's like some subjects I don't feel educated enough on, so I wouldn't necessarily give my opinion, although I have an opinion.
Yeah.
I'm nervous to share that opinion. Do you see what I mean? So I think it's probably one of those situations.
So someone said that dysfunctional to them was when something doesn't work.
Okay.
Which would be more related to an object rather than a person, right?
Yeah, because I know, didn't someone else say happy? Yeah. Just an
happy
emotion.
And stability and happiness.
Yeah.
Which I would agree with. When you look up the actual definition of, what is the actual dictionary definition of...
Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting them up. So someone said happy. Someone said a complete family, biological parents together for your whole childhood, which is probably, I have a very, very similar mindset to that, because I guess that was my upbringing. Somebody else said whatever worked for my mum, the best it could to keep us happy, which again probably goes back to also what I said, right? It depends on who your mum and dad are, and if you're better off without one or the other.
But then this really does bring us back to that conditioning thing that we've touched on quite a few times, is that sometimes our own opinions are completely clouded and impacted by not even our experiences. So like this person's understanding of functional and dysfunctional is whatever her mum did to make her happy. That's not really an explanation.
Yeah. It's just a feeling towards that. Yeah. It's funny, isn't it?
It's weird, isn't it? So the actual dictionary definition of dysfunctional is not operating normally or properly, unable to deal adequately with normal social relations, an emotional dysfunctional businessman.
So is it like, for example, you've got a chair and you've picked up a chair from IKEA that you're going to build, but you're missing a leg? Does that make it a dysfunctional chair because it just doesn't work?
Yeah.
So it's like a physical...
Yeah, so its purpose can't be achieved effectively, right?
So that's the meaning of
but
dysfunctional.
Then how can you
but people relate that to feeling, I guess, I don't know, maybe because we put it in the term of what's your idea of dysfunctional and functional families.
But then that's this textbook definition of a family, right?
Yeah.
A family of 4.
Yeah.
Come on, so everywhere you look. Even I tried to book trips for next week in the half term for the kids, and it's family of 4. We're taking our godson, and I'm like, why is there not families of 6s, families of 5? Why
that's
is
crazy.
Everything a bog 4?
Yeah, that's silly.
It's because society wants us to only have 2 children.
It's so weird.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's almost weird. Like propaganda. Like
what do you do the add-on for your godson? Well,
he ain't coming. No, I'm joking.
This is melting my heart. Please.
What is wrong with you today?
What's wrong?
He's like, I love podcast days.
He's just like, give me a paw.
But all you're going to see is just the top of his fuzzy head. Oh, you're such a lovely boy.
You're gorgeous, Doug. Yeah, I thought the polls were really good. I mean, I love doing the polls because I love to see everyone's feelings and thoughts to it. I think the best polls that we've ever had in responses and where our listeners really get involved, which I guess is because everybody has such different experiences with it, are relationships and sex and couples. So I really, really want to get back on and do some more episodes on that and get some people on, I guess, with just, I don't know. I think just because we've all had weird dates, good dates, shit
think
sex,
that we
good
need
sex.
That? I think, because I like to listen to podcasts about relationships and about...
I compare. I'm the worst.
It's not so much comparison. I think I'm looking for to know if how I feel is normal or not.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Not comparison, but validation for how you feel it. Yeah.
And I actually feel like that feeling of validation mirrors across a lot of areas in my life. So I always have to have this feeling of being accepted.
Yeah.
It's actually quite sad.
Yeah, What podcast do you listen to? I'm interested to see if we listen to the same ones for like relationships. Are there any like specific ones?
The one that I've been listening, the girls that I listen to all the time, I'll go to my podcast thing.
I listen to Sit With Us, the girls from...
is Luana. I love Luana.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one.
They're so good.
Yeah, I like...
Because they're
hilarious.
So funny.
So opposite as well.
And I really like Vicky Patterson, you know.
Oh, yeah, I like her one. It's very mixed, like what she gets on, which I like. It's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, when she does relationship ones, I don't know, whenever I see a relationship podcast released, I always want to click on it because I find it just really interesting to hear other females and guys' perception of relationships and what's right and what's wrong and things that people have done to get a relationship from a bad place to a good place. And I don't know what they've enjoyed about something and what they've not. And I don't know, I just, even when we've done our sex polls, I find it really interesting to hear how many people view things differently. Even like holiday sex, people were like, no, I don't do it more. Some people were like, hell yeah, I do it every day because the kids aren't here and it's our free time. But it was just really interesting because I put myself into like, oh, okay, I'm like them.
Yeah.
The validation.
Yeah, but it's weird because it wouldn't change how I would deal with a situation.
No.
So I'm not really sure what it is I'm getting from it.
For.
But I just find it really fascinating. It's almost like psychology, isn't it? Like understanding people's mindsets.
I would love to get our boys on. We've been saying this for a while. I did say to Sean last night, would he be up for coming on? And he said he's up for it. But I think it would be nice to get them on just to talk about relationships or... I don't know if they'd be really honest though. I don't know if they'd
Dan's
be a
very honest person.
Yeah.
He would make light of everything because he's quite a comical. And them two together would be a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd get a word in.
They're just going to be horrible to us.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think it would have to come on with like a specific topic, but it would be great to get them on.
We were going to do the how we met, weren't we? And get their first opinions.
Oh God.
Well, Dan thought I was
different opinion now. I reckon
sexy as anything. I wouldn't say that the same opinion now.
That's what I mean. I think my perception's changed quite a lot over the years. Tainted view. Well, it's been a lovely little catch up.
Thanks for that.
Nice to see you. Thanks for listening, guys.
Speak soon.
Bye.
Bye.